Alright, thanks for checking in. I'm going to continue my series on the All-Star Weekend, having it revised and making it a little more interesting for some people. First of all, I made a mistake in the Kansas City region on what I was doing on one of my other videos. So if you saw that video, you probably recognize Chet Holmgren in the Kansas City region. I made a mistake. I was not going to use rookies in that at all. So I'm replacing him with Jared Vanderbilt. So you'll see that correction made when you look at those charts in this video here. So let's get down to it. We got rookies versus rookies. Some of these guys are on two-way contracts. Some of these guys are actually on the NBA rosters, and some of them are being stashed away for future consideration. So let's get started with the first roster. This roster here is going to consist of David Roddy, small forward out of Memphis, or the Memphis Grizzlies. Small forward Simone Fontecchio of the Utah Jazz. Small forward Jalen Williams, Oklahoma City Thunder. Moving over to the centers. Centers, we're going to have Marcus Bingham Jr. of the Dallas Mavericks, Mark Williams of the Charlotte Hornets, and Orlando Robinson of the Miami Heat. Moving on to this roster here, we're going to have shooting guards. Shooting guards are going to consist of Stanley Umude, Detroit Pistons, shooting guard Johnny Davis, the Washington Wizards. Some people forgot about him. And shooting guard Shaedon Sharpe of the Portland Trail Blazers. And moving on to your power forwards for this particular roster, Jalen Williams, Oklahoma City Thunder, Nikola Jokic, the Miami Heat, Kenny Lofton Jr. of the, let's say Nikola Jovic, Nikola Jovic of the Miami Heat. I knew I was going to do that. And Kenny Lofton Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. And rounding out this roster here, we're going to have point guard Jaden Hardy, Dallas Mavericks, point guard Max Christie, the Los Angeles Lakers, and point guard Ty Washington of the Houston Rockets. And the head coach for this particular roster is going to be Mike Bibby, former Sacramento Kings player, who will be head coaching this roster here. Now, the other roster they'll be competing against, power forward positions, will be Moussa Diabate of the Los Angeles Clippers, power forward Jake LaRivia of Memphis Grizzlies, power forward Dominic Barlow of the San Antonio Spurs. Point guard position will be Scottie Pippen Jr., the Los Angeles Lakers, Bryce McGowens, Charlotte Hornets, Ron Harper Jr. of the Toronto Raptors. Small forward position for this roster will consist of Buddy Boeheim of the Detroit Pistons, Caleb Houston of the Orlando Magic, and Jamal Cain of the Miami Heat. Center position for this particular roster will be Christian Koloko of the Toronto Raptors, Olivier Sarr of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and center Ismail Kamagate of the Denver Nuggets. They stashed him overseas, but one interesting thing is he has the potential to fill in. Nothing's going to happen with Nikola Jokic, but he'll be there to fill in. So look forward to seeing him in the league. Rounding this particular roster out, you're going to have Marjon Beauchamp of the Milwaukee Bucks, Ochai Agbajabi of the Utah Jazz, former Kansas Jayhawk, and shooting guard will be Blake Wesley of the San Antonio Spurs. And that roster will be headed up by Chris Webber. So we got a Sacramento Kings thing going on with head coaches here. I thought I'd do that to make it interesting as a shout out for that squad that wreaked havoc on the league. They didn't get it done and didn't get that championship, but it was exciting to watch those guys all play together. So before I move on to the next segment in this video, where I go over the NBA rookies versus the undrafted players, make sure you subscribe and like. And just the comments, a couple things I want to shout out to you is big shout out to Arkansas, University of Arkansas basketball. Quietly, they are putting a lot of players into the NBA. Some of them are on G League rosters. Some of them are on two-way contracts. And just look forward to seeing a lot of players from the University of Arkansas in the NBA. And they're quietly putting some good guys in there, and they do have the guy, first name Brandon. I can't think of his last name right now, but he's probably going to be one of the top 5 picks this upcoming draft out of University of Arkansas as well. And also doing this with all the research that I was looking at with this right here. I'm just going to put this little note up that I was keeping notes on. So I just wanted to mention quiet as kept. Some of these teams, after doing the research on this, are going to be the teams of the future to look out for, and that's including the Utah Jazz, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons, the Los Angeles Lakers, Memphis Grizzlies, and the Los Angeles Clippers. And I want you to be on the lookout for those teams. That's going to be the future. So if anyone's trying to get that championship now, go ahead and do what you can to get it, because these teams are up and coming. So anyway, let's move over here onto this next part, and we're going to be going over the exciting part with the NBA rookies, the top NBA rookies going up against some of the players that I scouted that I feel and still believe have the potential and the talent to make it on an NBA roster. And I'm not talking about sitting at the end of the bench or being placed on a G League or on a two-way contract, but I'm talking as far as them being the next wave of stars to come into the league. So let's move on to that one. All right, so let's get down to it, folks. I appreciate you watching this once again. So what I'm going to start with here on this particular one, this is where some of the players that I scouted last year that I felt had NBA potential and still do feel have NBA potential, going up against some players that are currently on NBA rosters, the top rookies that are in the NBA now. So like I said, these guys deserve an opportunity as well. I know there's a lot of guys out there who feel that way, that they do deserve an opportunity, and I agree with them 100%, which is why I am for NBA expansion at some point in time where we can get these guys an opportunity to play the game that they love. I know a lot of these guys are overseas playing, but like I said before, I believe they have what it takes to make it in the NBA. I know it's really competitive, and I wouldn't throw these guys' names out here if I didn't see their potential. So let me know if you agree or disagree, if there's anybody that you want to add to the list. So let's get started with the point guards that were undrafted. And you got Kobe McEwen of Weber State, same school that Damian Lillard came from. J.D. Notae, University of Arkansas, which is sending a lot of players into the league. So be on the lookout for the rise of the players from the University of Arkansas in the NBA. Point guard Charlie Moore, Miami. He did have a stint with the Detroit Pistons on the summer league roster, and he did impress a lot, but I guess they were just too point guard heavy, and I believe he's playing overseas now, but I still believe he has the potential. He reminds me of Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons era, the Bad Boys era. So look for him to get an opportunity somewhere down the line. I don't think he's done yet. Moving on to the shooting guard position, and the shooting guards are Jordan Usher, Georgia Tech. I'm very high on him. You will see him in the league one day. He's the closest that I've seen as far as, I'd say, like a James Worthy, Michael Jordan type player, and given opportunity, he's going to prove exactly what I'm saying in the league. So shooting guard Jordan Usher out of Georgia Tech. He was in the backcourt with Michael DeVoe. Shooting guard Ben Shungu of Vermont, and shooting guard Peter Kiss of Bryant. Moving on. Small forwards, Bryce Fowler, Sacramento State. This is a sleeper here in small forward Thomas Bell III out of North Texas, and small forward Colin Welp out of UC Irvine. And we'll get into the power forwards now. A couple of these, one of these power forwards in particular, I believe has what it takes to make it in the league. I don't know how he got overlooked. I don't even remember seeing him on any rosters for summer league, and that's power forward Sugmiel Mathon out of Boston. He was one of the top centers in college basketball last season. And a rebound machine, double machine, And, you know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully someone gives him a nod and gives him a chance, even if it's on a G League team. Power forward Ryan Davis out of Vermont, and power forward Gage Prim, who's a pretty good big out of Missouri State. Moving on from the power forward positions to the bigs, and these three bigs right here I named actually could come in and take the league by storm. One is Rajay Lyons, a big fella out of Nicholls State. He's able to shoot the three. He's a great passer, big fella. If you're looking for somebody to bang in the paint, put some bodies on some people, yeah, he's your guy. Jared Houston out of Emerson College. Jared Houston, put it this way with him, I've been talking about him for a while. If you think Nikola Jokic is something, you ain't seen nothing yet until you see this guy. This guy does it all on offense and defense. And he had 91 blocks his senior season in college. I mean, he's not from a big university, but I still believe he has the skills. That's his picture that you see here with number 23 holding the basketball in the air on this video. And the other center I have is Nate Watson out of Providence. And I've never seen a player with the aggressiveness that he has. The only player I can compare him to is LeBron James at this stage in LeBron James' career. That's how good Nate Watson is. I mean, he's a powerhouse. He gets after it. And whoever lands him is going to land a gold mine with him. And moving on, head coach of this particular roster for these undrafted players will be Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs. So we're going to move on from that. And we're going to move on to your NBA rookies. And your rookies they will be going up against would be point guard Jaden Ivey of the Detroit Pistons, Dyson Daniels of the New Orleans Pelicans, and Andrew Nebhart of the Indiana Pacers. And I'm pausing here because I think I mixed some things up here on that last roster. Trevion Williams should be on that last roster I just mentioned. Jaden Ivey brought that to mind. That was his teammate at Purdue University, and he's a player as well to watch out for. Sorry, I somehow spaced it and didn't get him in there. But he was, last time I saw, he was on the G League roster for the Golden State Warriors. And when he gets called up to the actual roster, look out. You heard it here first. Moving on, Dyson Daniels, point guard, New Orleans Pelicans, and point guard Andrew Nebhart of the Indiana Pacers. And moving on from that, we got Christian Braun, shooting guard, Denver Nuggets. He's quietly one of the best rookies out there playing. Headstrong, member of that Kansas Jayhawk NCAA championship team. And he's going to be around for a while, guys. He is going to be around. He's going to make his name in the league. Shooting guard Benedict Mathurin of the Indiana Pacers. And shooting guard Malachi Branham of the San Antonio Spurs. Moving on, your small forwards would be Keegan Murray of the Sacramento Kings. Small forward Tyree Eason of the Houston Rockets. Sorry about that. And you can see where I scratched off here. I had AJ Green in from the Atlanta Hawks. And I believe I put him on a different roster in exchange for Jeremy Sochan of the San Antonio Spurs, who's currently out, but he's bringing it on. It's taken him a while to get things going, but he's bringing it on now. Moving on to the power forward position, it'd be Paolo Banchero of the Orlando Magic. Probably going to be in the runners for Rookie of the Year. Jabari Smith Jr., the Houston Rockets. And I had Kenny Lofton Jr. there from the Memphis Grizzlies, but I replaced him with Josh Minott of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who's turning it on. Kenny Lofton's day is going to come, folks. Just keep your eyes open for him. Moving on to the bigs, you know, we got to have Jalen Duren in there of the Detroit Pistons. He's also going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year, at least for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He should be there. And also Chet Holmgren. And like I said, with all the ones that I've done in this video segment, I'm not taking injuries in consideration. I'm just doing this as if everyone was healthy. So Chet Holmgren would be there from the Oklahoma City Thunder. And center Walker Kessler of the Utah Jazz will round out that roster. Head coach would be Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors. So let me know what you think. Would these guys actually have a chance against these NBA rookies? I think so. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think. But my reasoning behind this is I believe there are some players out here who, given an opportunity, would showcase their talents and prove that they belong here at the next level in the NBA. And also it gets them exposure throughout the uh, country so people could see what they're about. You know, some people didn't pay attention to them or didn't see them because they were not at one of the premier colleges playing, but they still have a lot of potential. So this is just my suggestions here. Everyone does their mock drafts. This is just my mock NBA All-Star Game revisions. I appreciate you checking this out. Be sure to look at all the other videos surrounding this topic. And I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day and enjoyed this.